Hello and welcome back to the 10-Step Mix. I'm Al from musicguypodcast.com, and we're working on my song called Waiting on the Right Time, which is available on Spotify. So we're on step 7 here. We are burning through our mix. We started by importing our template, then getting our rough balances, processing our mix bus, getting our vocals sounding really great, and then we moved on to our drums, which are sounding pretty darn good. So it's time to work on the bass. Let's check out the bass, played by the great and powerful Mark Rinkin from The Agenda. Let's check it out. So I've got an EQ on the bass just to roll off a little bit of the super low end at 70. Depending on the sound of your bass, you could go down to 60. So maybe we'll do that just to get a bit more depth. But we want to keep it out of the way of the low end of the kick drum, which tends to live around 60. You want your kick and your bass to sort of work together well. So we'll be looking out for that and maybe adjusting this if need be. And we've got a MaxxBass plugin. Just adding some extra bass around 70, because who doesn't want more bass? And again, 70, we want to keep it out of the way of the kick drum, so that's why we want to be on 70. If you have a throatier bass sound, you can try going a little bit higher. Get a little bit more of an old school bass sound. I like the deep bass. I'm going to go with 70. And without, loses a lot of that thump. Yeah, love it. And then just a little bit of compression. It's like 3 dB, why not? Let's hear it with the drums. And now would be a good time to just have a look at our master fader area. I'll move my stupid face out of the way and just see how we're doing. We are clipping a little bit, and we're doing okay on our compressor here, so we can just back this down a little bit on the master fader so that we're not clipping quite as hard. Again, drum clipping, not a huge concern, so we'll leave that alone for now. All right, well, that's bass, so we'll see you next time. I guess the one other thing I'll add is that it's really important to have your bass be nice and in tune. So this bass track was processed through Melodyne. I went through each note of the performance, just made sure that it was tuned up if it needed to be. And if your bass is not in tune, it's going to sort of affect the sound of everything else in your mix, since the bass is the fundamental pitch. So the tuning of your vocals and your guitars, everything is going to sound off if your bass is out. And if your bass player plays a little bit more aggressively or was playing on an instrument that wasn't set up perfectly, because guitars are very finicky that way, a handful of notes might be out of tune, and you might notice that they're sort of rubbing up against the rest of your session. So just pull up Melodyne, give her a tune, and that'll make your mix sound a heck of a lot better. So, then one other thing we can do with the bass is low pass it as well. Let's have a listen here. Set up a low pass. And we're not going to miss anything north of 6K on a bass. So again, this is just freeing up more headroom and getting rid of any tiny little bits of sound that we don't really want to hear, that are going to sort of get in the way of our other instruments that occupy the top end. So that's bass. We'll see you for the next video.